Hello, it's Saturday the 5th of December. You're tuned in to our 6 p.m. newscast coming to you from Arirang's news centre in Seoul. It's very good to have you with us. I'm Mark Broom. Our top story this evening, President Park Geun-hye has arrived back in Seoul. She did so earlier on this Saturday after wrapping up her 7-day tour that took her to France and the Czech Republic. In Paris, President Park attended the UN Climate Change Conference where world leaders put their heads together for a successor treaty to the 1997 Kyoto Protocol. And during her 4-day stay in Prague, the South Korean leader held her first summit with the Visegrad Group, which is a regional economic bloc comprised of the Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland and Slovakia. There, President Park paved the way for Korean businesses to take part in Central Europe's booming infrastructure market valued at $43 billion. Now, if you're watching us in Seoul and you fancy an early evening stroll through Gwanghwamun, you might want to think again. That's because, for a second time, a mass rally is taking place in the heart of the Korean capital on this Saturday. Organisers say some 50,000 people from over 100 civic groups have been holding demonstrations since midday from around 6 hours ago. Police put the figure of demonstrators at closer to 15,000. The latest rally is a follow-up to one held last month to protest the government's labour reform plans and its decision to reintroduce state-issued history textbooks. Last month's demonstration turned violent as some protesters brandished metal pipes and attacked police buses, and the police responded with pepper spray and water cannons. Now, today's rally was originally banned by police, but a local court on Thursday ruled the ban unjust, giving the event the green light. Civic groups have vowed to hold a peaceful rally and have so, thus far at least, this amid the government's warning that violent protesters will be dealt with severely. The UN Security Council will hold a meeting next week on human rights in North Korea. The US mission to the United Nations says senior UN officials will brief the Council on the situation next Thursday. 8 Council members, including France, New Zealand and Britain, supported the US decision to revive discussions on the alleged rights abuses in North Korea. The Security Council last discussed the issue 1 year ago. Now, China, North Korea's only real major ally, has said it would be a bad idea for the Security Council to hold such a meeting. There's growing focus on the issue after a UN Commission of Inquiry detailed wide-ranging abuses in North Korea last year. The report said it found abuses without parallel in the modern world. They include murder, enslavement, torture, imprisonment, rape, forced abortions and more. A Korean woman who was forced to work in a Japanese military brothel during World War II has died. A civic group supporting the victims of sexual slavery says Choi Gap-sun passed away in the early hours of Saturday morning. She was 96 years old. Choi's passing means just 46 of the victims registered with the Korean government are still alive. Korea wants Japan to issue a formal apology to the victims and compensate them for their suffering, but Tokyo has yet to do so. The two countries have agreed to try and resolve the issue as quickly as possible. Samsung has agreed to pay Apple $548 million for copying its iPhone designs. According to court filings released by Foss Patents, the Korean firm has stated it will pay Apple the money to settle their patent dispute. Samsung says it will remit payment within 10 days of receiving an invoice from Apple. However, Samsung has stated that it reserves the right to ask for the money back in the event of any future court findings that invalidate the judgment. The settlement pertains to an Apple lawsuit that was decided nearly 5 years ago. The Korean smartphone maker was found guilty of infringing a number of Apple patents, including one covering its pinch-to-zoom feature on the iPhone. The recent shooting in Southern California is now being investigated as an act of terrorism. The FBI says the couple's deadly rampage is believed to have been inspired by their support of the Islamic State group. Song Ji-sun has the details.
It is now being declared an act of terrorism. The FBI has taken over the investigation into the mass shooting in San Bernardino that killed 14 and left 21 others wounded after evidence indicated the couple that carried out the atrocity supported the Islamic State group.
As of today, based on the information and the facts as we know them, we are now investigating these horrific acts as an act of terrorism.
This announcement came a matter of hours after it emerged the female shooter, Tashfin Malik, had posted a pledge of allegiance to the ISIS leader on her Facebook account with a different name while the shooting was happening. Her husband, Saeed Rizwan Farouk, had earlier pledged allegiance to ISIS on the day of the attack. The couple burst into a holiday party for the county health department Farouk worked for and opened fire on the victims, who were mostly his colleagues. There's no evidence ISIS had directly instructed the couple, with investigators thinking a workplace issue with religion may have sparked the killings. U.S. President Barack Obama has speculated about there being mixed motives, suggesting Islamic radicalism and workplace grievances both could have driven the attack. Their families weren't aware of their radical views or that they were planning an attack in the apartment they share with their 6-month-old daughter and Farouk's mother. Authorities searched the house and uncovered about 5,000 rounds of ammunition, parts for guns and holsters, and pipe bombs. Late Friday, a delivery driver noticed he was carrying a package addressed to Farouk, so he contacted the authorities. Bomb technicians were deployed to inspect the package in isolation. In an apparent attempt to destroy digital fingerprints, the couple had removed computer hard drives, and cell phones were found smashed in a garbage can near the crime scene. 송지선, Arirang News.
Now, China is bracing itself for another blanket of smog this weekend after a couple of days of relative respite from the toxic haze. The problem is getting so bad that senior members of China's Communist Party will hold an emergency meeting in the coming days to discuss countermeasures. The latest bout of heavy smog is forecast to hang over the Chinese capital until next Wednesday. Now, Beijing was on the second highest smog level of orange throughout November, with the exception of a single day. Readings of tiny poisonous particles known as PM2.5 topped 900 micrograms per cubic meter in Beijing last week. That's almost 40 times the level considered safe by the World Health Organization. Vehicle exhaust emissions, coal-fired power generation and winter heating have been blamed for most of the pollution in northern China. Now, since its launch in March, Korea's first multi-purpose satellite has undergone testing processes readying it for commercial service. With its high-resolution camera, the satellite can provide clear images of the Earth's surface day and night. Park Se-young has the story.
This is a clear image of New York City's Central Park. And here we see Palm Island, the largest artificial island in the world, and Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest skyscraper, both in Dubai. These images from around the world were taken last month by Arirang 3A, Korea's first domestically developed multi-purpose satellite. According to the Ministry of Science, ICT and Future Planning, the satellite, which launched in March, will provide commercial services starting this month. The satellite underwent 8 months of performance inspections and is now optimized for use. Equipped with powerful optical telescopes, Arirang 3A can provide clear images of any object on Earth, providing that the object is larger than 55 centimeters in diameter. With its temperature-sensitive infrared sensors, the satellite can also monitor changes on the Earth's surface day and night, regardless of the weather. High-resolution images provided by the satellite will be used for various purposes, like observing environmental pollution and analyzing damage from forest fires. Korea is expected to gain competitiveness within the commercial satellite imagery market once it begins selling the images. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
Now, the popularity of Korean food, or K-food as it's sometimes called, is taking off all over the world. But experts say it will still be a while before Korean food becomes a truly globally recognized cuisine. Won Ji-yeon has this report.
Here's a culinary school in central Seoul. Classes are diverse with students in their early 20s all the way to their 50s. And everyone is here for one reason: to become professionals in Korean cooking.
I'm a chef from New York City. I came here to learn Korean cuisines, so I can open a Korean restaurant when I go back to the States.
Culinary schools like these have become all the rage as food and cooking shows are dominating Korean television.
Many famous chefs and college professors from abroad have been coming to Korea to learn traditional Korean cuisine, and these numbers have increased by about 5 to 6 times more than last year.
Despite the growing appetite for Korean food around the world, food experts say Korea still has a long way to go to globalize its traditional dishes. The biggest reason was the lack of professional training courses for Korean cuisine. In fact, only 12 out of 108 culinary programs at Korean colleges offer Korean cooking classes.
There aren't enough culinary programs in Korea that offer expertise in Korean cuisine. I think we'll need about 70% of domestic culinary programs teaching Korean cooking classes in order to effectively globalize K-food.
Experts added that enlisting Korea's food traditions on UNESCO's list of World Heritage will also help Korean cuisine become a world favorite. Won Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
Now, finally, before we go, let's take a brief weather update. It's going to feel very cold tonight across most of the central region. The overnight low is going to dip to -6 degrees Celsius in Seoul. Sunday will be partly cloudy, but it will feel fairly mild for the time of the year. With that, let's take a look at the weather around the world. Well, that's all we have for now. Do enjoy the rest of your Saturday wherever you're watching us, and stay tuned to Arirang TV. We'll be back with our next newscast at 10 p.m. Korea time. Until then, goodbye.